Don't believe the lie that you've lost your passion. Passion doesn't just disappear. It decays. Slowly, silently. Every time you choose approval over truth. The world taught you to be responsible, dependable, needed. But it never warned you that living this way would turn you into something hollow. Something efficient, but lifeless. Tell me this. When was the last time you felt something real? Not relief, not distraction, but something that made your chest tighten. Something that reminded you that you were still alive? Or are you just moving now? Checking boxes, answering messages, fulfilling roles, while something inside you is quietly dying. And here's the part no one wants to admit. If you keep going like this for another year, you won't just lose time. You'll lose the last trace of the woman you used to be before the world convinced you to shrink. This isn't a video to comfort you, it's a confrontation. Because your why didn't disappear. You buried it under expectations, fear, and a life that was never truly yours. And if you don't dig it up now, no one is coming to save you from becoming a stranger to yourself. I know how sharp those words felt, because I've lived inside them. There was a time when I thought I was just tired, that maybe I needed a break, a vacation, a reset. But the truth was harder to swallow. I wasn't tired from doing too much. I was exhausted from doing too much of what didn't belong to me. Every day looked productive from the outside, deadlines met, responsibilities handled, people satisfied. But inside, it felt like I was slowly fading out of my own life. I remember one night, sitting alone in my apartment, the silence louder than anything I'd heard all day. My phone was finally still. No notifications, no demands. Just me, and a version of myself I barely recognised. I looked at my reflection in the dark window, and something felt off. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't even pain. It was emptiness. The kind that doesn't scream, but lingers, like a quiet warning you keep choosing to ignore. And in that moment, a question surfaced. Not loud, but undeniable. When did I stop feeling like I was living and start feeling like I was just maintaining a life? That was the crack. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. But the truth didn't hit me all at once. It came in fragments, uncomfortable realizations I tried to push away. I realized I had built my entire life around being needed, being reliable, being the one who holds everything together. And on the surface, that looks admirable. But underneath, it was something else entirely. It was a cage, a well-decorated one, but a cage nonetheless. Because every time I said yes to something that drained me, every time I stayed silent to avoid conflict, every time I chose being liked over being real, I was reinforcing the same pattern, self-betrayal. And that's when it clicked. The problem was never that I didn't have a why. The problem was that I had abandoned it in exchange for safety. And safety, when it's built on suppressing who you are, becomes a slow form of emotional decay. If you see yourself in this, listen carefully. Your passion didn't disappear overnight. It was buried, layer by layer, under expectations, under roles you didn't question, under the fear of disappointing people who were never meant to define you in the first place. But here's where everything shifts. Because the moment you stop blaming your circumstances, you reclaim something powerful, responsibility. Not the kind that weighs you down, but the kind that puts you back in control. There's a principle in Stoic philosophy that changed everything for me. It's simple, but brutal. You suffer not because of what happens to you, but because of the meaning you assign to it. And when I really sat with that, I realised something uncomfortable. I had made being needed my identity. I had made pleasing others my measure of worth. I had made stability more important than truth. So of course I felt lost. I had outsourced my entire sense of self. But once you see that, something shifts. Because if you were the one who buried your why, then you are also the one who can uncover it. Not by chasing inspiration, not by waiting for clarity, but by doing something far more difficult, by becoming honest. Honest about what drains you. Honest about what you've outgrown. Honest about the roles you're playing that no longer fit. Because your why is not some grand purpose waiting to be discovered. It's much quieter than that. It lives in the moments where you feel most like yourself. In the things that energize you, even when they're hard. In the truth you keep pushing down because it doesn't align with the life you've built. And the deeper truth? You don't find your why by adding more to your life. You find it by removing what isn't real. That's the part no one tells you. Reconnection doesn't feel like excitement at first. It feels like loss. Letting go of identities. Letting go of expectations. Letting go of the version of you that everyone else has grown comfortable with. And that's terrifying. Because it means stepping into uncertainty, without the guarantee that everything will fall into place. But staying where you are, that's not safety. That's stagnation disguised as stability. And if you're honest, you already feel it. That quiet tension, that subtle resistance every morning. That sense that something isn't aligned, even if everything looks fine. That's your signal, not a breakdown, a wake-up call. Because the truth is, your passion isn't gone, it's waiting. Waiting for you to stop numbing yourself with distractions. Waiting for you to stop negotiating with a life that doesn't fit. Waiting for you to finally choose yourself, without apology. And that choice? It doesn't happen someday. It happens in a moment. A moment where you stop asking, what should I do? And start asking, what is actually true for me? That's where everything begins. Now you know the truth. So here's what you do next. No more overthinking. No more waiting. First, face it. Write down everything in your life that feels heavy, forced, or fake. Not what looks good. Not what makes sense. What feels wrong. Be ruthless. Second, cut the noise. Distance yourself from anything that constantly pulls you away from yourself. People, habits, expectations. You cannot hear your inner voice in a life that's too loud. Third, trace what's real. Go back to the moments where you felt alive, even briefly. Not impressive, not perfect, just real. That's where your why is buried. Fourth, set a boundary. Stop giving your time, your energy, your attention to things that demand you disappear. Your life cannot expand if you keep shrinking to fit it. And finally, act. Do one thing that aligns with your truth. Today, not tomorrow, not when you're ready, now. Because your life is not waiting for you to figure it out. It's waiting for you to take it back. You are not here to maintain a life that drains you. You are here to create one that reflects you. So decide. And if you're done living disconnected from yourself, write it down somewhere only you can see. I take my life back.